This lesson will teach you how to post individual amounts found in the general debit and credit columns of a journal to an account in a ledger. In a previous lesson, you were introduced to a ledger and you practiced calculating new account balances. In this lesson, we'll be posting the entries found on this sample journal page to the appropriate account in a ledger. We will only be posting the general debits and credits. You will learn how to deal with the special cells and cash columns later. The purpose of posting is to transfer individual amounts from the journal into the appropriate account in a ledger. The process of posting begins by selecting a single transaction and identifying the appropriate account to transfer it to. The account title should match what is written in the account title column. After you have found the account in the ledger, you should follow a 5-step process. Step 1. The date in the ledger should match the date from the journal. This is the date the transaction occurred. Step 2. Write the page number in the post reference column. Journals can get very long with many pages. Writing the page number makes it easy to trace the entry back to its source in the journal. Step 3. Write the amount of the debit or credit in the appropriate column. Remember that each entry will either be a debit or a credit. Step 4. Write the new account balance in the appropriate balance column. Make sure to follow the guidelines for balancing accounts, which was discussed in your previous lesson. Step 5. Write the account number in the post reference column. It is important that you do this step at the very end. Writing the account number in the journal means that the ledger entry has been completely finished. If you are ever interrupted during the posting process, it is easy to identify which entries still need posting. If no account number is found in the post reference column of the journal, it means the entry has not been posted yet. In the future, this account number also allows you to trace which account the amount was posted to. We have finished posting the first entry. Let's move on to the next one. Remember that we are only posting the general columns for now. Ignore anything that is written in the sales or cash columns. Before we start, we need to make sure we have the right account title. This transaction was for rent expense. It should be recorded in the rent expense account. First, we write the date. Then we write the journal page number. Then we write the amount. This was a $900 debit. Then we balance the account. This was the first posting, so the balance is the same as the entry. Finally, we write the account number in the journal. This is always the very last step. It is time to move on to the next journal entry. Before we start, we need to make sure we have the right account. The journal entry should match the account title. First, we write the date, then we write the journal page number. Then we write the amount. This was a $300 credit. Then we balance the account. This was the first posting, so the balance is the same as the entry. Finally, we write the account number in the journal. This is always the very last step. The next entry involves supplies. Notice that we have already written an entry in the supplies account. It was the first example we did together. Our new entry will go on the next line. First, we write the date. Then we write the journal page number. Then we write the amount. This was a $50 debit. Then we balance the account. Because the entry is a debit and the account balance is also a debit, we need to add 200 plus 50 equals 250. Finally, we write the account number in the journal. This is always the very last step. The last two entries both affect the same account. Pause the video and try posting both of these examples on your own. Then resume the video and check your work. This entry affects Magician's Tools. First, we write the date. Then we write the journal page number. Then we write the amount. This was a $50 credit. Then we balance the ledger. Because this is the first posting, the balance will be the same as the entry. Finally, we write the account number in the journal. This is always the very last step. The last entry also affects Magician's Tools. Because we have already written an entry in this account, we need to move down to the next line. First, we write the date. Then we write the journal page number. Then we write the amount. This was a $30 debit. Then we balance the account. Because this entry was a debit and the current balance is a credit, we need to subtract. 50 minus 30 equals 20. Because the previous credit balance was bigger than our debit entry, the new balance is still a credit. Finally, we write the account number in the journal. This is always the very last step. If there were additional amounts recorded for the month of October, you would continue posting each individual amount by date. You may encounter a line where a check mark has been placed in the account title. This means you do not need to post this entry as an individual amount. At the end of the month, you will need to prove and rule the journal. Remember, this means to draw a solid line below the last entry and calculate column totals. In this example, the general debit total is $1,180, and the general credit total is $350. There is no account with the title General. Therefore, the general debit and credit column totals are not associated with any particular account. They are simply column totals. After each individual amount has been posted from the general columns to the appropriate account, a check mark in parentheses is placed under the column total. Check marks in parentheses indicate that the general column totals are not posted to an account themselves. Rather, the individual entries inside of them were posted individually.